Why the best answer is often silence. Have you ever found yourself in the middle of a heated argument, with words pouring out of your mouth before you can even think? Or perhaps you have felt the desperate need to explain yourself to someone who has already made up their mind about you. In our modern world, we are taught that eloquence is power. We are told that the one who speaks the loudest and the fastest is the one who wins. We are conditioned to fear the quiet, viewing it as a sign of weakness, or worse, a lack of intelligence. But what if the most profound strength you can ever possess is the ability to say absolutely nothing? Consider the story of a young man named Leo. He believed that every injustice required a rebuttal and every insult deserved a counterattack. To Leo, winning an argument was the ultimate form of control. He spent his days in the marketplace, debating with anyone who dared to disagree with him. He was respected for his mind, but he was also deeply restless. His internal world was a storm of words, a constant rehearsal of what to say next. One afternoon, a traveler passing through the town began to mock Leo's philosophy in front of a large crowd. The traveler was loud, arrogant, and used unfair logic. Leo felt the familiar heat rising in his chest. His heart raced, and his mind began to sharpen its blades. He was ready to destroy the man's reputation with a flood of clever insults. But before he could speak, he looked at an old monk sitting near a fountain, watching the scene with a faint, peaceful smile. Leo paused. For the first time in his life, he decided to walk away without saying a single word. The crowd whispered. The traveler laughed, calling Leo a coward. But as Leo walked into the forest, he noticed something strange. The anger that usually burned in him for hours after a debate began to evaporate in minutes. By not speaking, he had denied the traveler the fuel needed to keep the fire going. He realized that his silence wasn't an admission of defeat. It was a declaration of independence. This is the power of silence as a Stoic discipline. The ancient philosophers understood that our energy is a limited and sacred resource. When you react to every provocation, you are giving away your power to anyone who wants to take it. You are letting their temperament dictate your peace. Silence is the boundary of your internal kingdom. It is the realization that you do not owe everyone an explanation. And you certainly do not owe the world your outrage. In Zen tradition, there is a beautiful teaching about a muddy pond. If you want to see the bottom of a pond that has been stirred up, you cannot do it by reaching in and moving the water with your hands. That only makes the mud swirl faster. To see clearly, you must do the one thing that feels the most difficult. You must wait in silence. You must allow the sediment to settle on its own. Our lives are often like that pond. We try to fix situations with more words, more emails, and more explanations, only to find that we have made the water murkier. Silence is the act of letting the mud settle. Think about your relationships. How many times has a relationship been damaged? Not by what was unsaid, but by the words spoken in a moment of ego. Silence gives you the gift of the sacred pause. It is the space between a stimulus and your response. In that space lies your freedom. When someone criticizes you, silence allows you to ask, is this true? If it is true, there is no need to defend yourself. If it is false, there is no need to dignify it with a response. In either case, silence is the most honest answer. Mastering silence requires immense discipline. It is far easier to scream than to remain quiet. It is easier to tweet a thought than to sit with it. But when you practice silence, you are training your mind to be the master of your emotions rather than their servant. You are practicing the art of letting go of the need to be right. You begin to understand that your integrity does not depend on someone else's approval. This doesn't mean you should never speak. It means that when you do speak, your words should be better than the silence they are replacing. Silence makes your words heavier. It gives them value. When a person who is usually quiet chooses to speak, the world stops to listen. Their words are not fleeting noise. They are deliberate choices. The best answer is often silence because it is a mirror. When you remain silent in the face of someone's anger, you are holding up a mirror to their own behavior. Without your reaction to hide behind, they are forced to see themselves. Silence is a form of healing. It heals the exhaustion of constant self-defense. It heals the anxiety of social pressure. It creates a sanctuary within you that the world cannot touch. As you go through your day, notice the moments where you feel the urge to fill the air with noise. Perhaps it's a lull in a conversation, or a negative comment on social media. Try to embrace the silence instead. Feel the strength that comes from holding your peace. Realize that you are not losing. You are simply choosing not to play a game that has no prize. You are the sovereign of your own mind. Your silence is your throne. From that place of stillness, you can see the world with clarity and act with true wisdom. Remember, the sun makes no noise as it rises, yet it changes the entire world. Your quiet strength will do the same.